How's it going, everybody?
Very well. Everything is fine. It's another football show. We're going to be discussing Themba Zwane of South Africa, his evolution and his leadership qualities, and how he has become a pillar in Sundowns and the South African team. And then we'll pivot to the Nigerian Super Eagles and how their defense is declining. With me to do that is Brian Warith Mustafa. You're welcome to the show.
Okay, let me start by saying that I hope Zwane doesn't play when Nigeria meets South Africa, when they meet them in September. I know Zwane is old and it's time for him to leave, but he still has a few more. He still has a few more assists in his hands. Yes, so I can say that he shouldn't resign. He should retire now. Yeah. Retire now. I'm just kidding. But anyway, so let's get to the show. Yeah, so Zwane is 35 years old, and I know he's like a legend when it comes to South African football. He's one of the best midfielders ever. Very accurate passers, fantastically accurate, good vision. He can sit back in midfield, or he can also go as an attacking midfielder, and he provides a lot of balance along with Mokoena. Now, who's the other one? Who's is it Mokoena?
It's Mokoena, yes.
There's another Mokoena also, but
defensive midfielder.
Yeah, of Mokoena. So the two of them are priceless. But I think this guy is old. He missed a lot of games last year, and he came back for the World Club. He did okay against Ulsan, but he didn't really do much, and it just didn't seem like he was in sync. And it seemed like, as far as I'm concerned, it's time for them to phase him out, because you don't want to become dependent on this guy. He's going to play. Can he make it to the next World Cup? Maybe. Start next World Cup. I'm not sure if he has the legs in him to do that. But even if he does, South Africa needs to start bringing in some of its younger midfielders and incorporating them in the team, because you don't want to be dependent on someone who's 35 years old, the way that Portugal tried to hold on to Ronaldo. What are your thoughts, Mr. Brian, who's from South Africa, by the way? So he may know better than me. I think he thinks that it's okay that what's his name is still doing okay. Go ahead. Zwane is still okay. What do you think, Brian?
Yeah. Thanks for having me again on this show. It's an interesting topic we have today. But at 35, most players are usually written off. But Zwane is still the most important link in Bafana's attack, and you know how fans love to scream, bring in the youth, until a veteran like Zwane reminds us why experience always wins games.
That's true. That experience, he has experience, just like Modric. So as long as he's not injured or he has endurance. But I noticed that some fans were complaining that he looks a little bit tired close to the before he got injured last year. So the question is now, what about his durability? Because his skill and experience is great, but his durability, do you think he can continue, especially with their tough, you guys have the tough league, you have fighting for the South African title with Sundowns, then playing like World Club, and then playing the African Nations Cup, and then also trying to qualify for a World Cup and play internationally. It might be a lot for him. So I think that maybe they need to start phasing him out. He's still important, but they need to start preparing some people to replace him. What do you think, Brian? He's lagging. What are your thoughts, Afolabi?
Yeah, you're absolutely right. But I watched his game. You know, he had a very bad injury in October during the AFCON qualifiers. He ruptured his Achilles tendon. And so coming back from that injury has been a long road. And so the South African coach, is being very careful. He just doesn't want to throw him into the game like that. So he's been making substitute appearances. So that has affected his coming back. But his first game that he came back against Al Ahly in the CAF Champions League, he did reasonably.
So he didn't play. He didn't play in the Champions League.
No, I mean the CAF Champions League for against Al Ahly.
I thought he didn't play in that game. They didn't start him
in that game.
I don't think he started it.
I'm not talking about the World Club couple.
No, yeah, I'm talking about the finals. Well, I'll check. Continue. Yeah, go on. I think he didn't play.
So what?
He was still injured by then.
Yeah, I thought he was injured, man. He didn't play.
2 months ago. I saw the
He
clips
didn't
anyway.
play.
You can confirm.
No,
Okay.
no, he didn't play in the final match. And did he play? He didn't play.
He played
Brian.
in the final game against
Oh, he played in the final
Pyramids. Yeah,
game. Oh, okay.
yeah,
I thought that, but he didn't start. Did he start? He didn't
No,
start.
he didn't
No.
start. He made a substitute appearance because he
Yeah,
was
yeah,
coming from injury.
yeah.
yeah.
And they
Yeah,
were
so
saying that he should have started, especially the
yes.
first leg.
So, but the
Yeah.
coach is being careful because of the Achilles tendon injury. But I saw clips of that game and he looked very sprightly. He was quick. He was passing very incisively. So I feel he still has a good 2 years in him for both Bafana and Sundowns. He's been in Sundowns since 2011, 14 years. And he's been
And he doesn't have to be so much of an attacking player anymore.
yeah, he doesn't have to be so much of an attacking player. And most of these players, as they age, they tend to evolve their game to more cerebral, more passing, more measured.
Yeah.
They're not as
I think they should put Mafa King in the midfield too,
yes,
or as
Mafeking.
a wing. But if they don't want to put him in the midfield, but they need to use him in their build-ups. Yeah.
Yeah, so what I feel is that I don't think he's totally written off now. The injury played a part in his coming back. I think he's still one of the most experienced. He's been capped 50 times for Bafana. I think he's still one of the most experienced midfielders for Bafana. But like Mustafa said, they should begin to look at the heir to his position because right now they need younger players who can press more, who can run more. And the way the game is now and the way the game Sundowns like to play, they like to play quick, incisive, short passing game. He may be getting too old for that. He's lost a yard of pace as well. So
and if they meet a team like Cote d'Ivoire or Senegal in Africa,
exactly. So
you're going to need to do more than just have a presence in midfield. You're going to have to drop back because we saw what happened when they played against Borussia. No, was it Borussia Dortmund? Yeah.
Yeah, it was Dortmund, the 4-3 game.
The midfield was overrun. So South Africa has good players who can pass the ball and everything in midfield, but they're going to have to be able to be explosive, be able to press, drop back, track back on defense and everything. And that might be a liability with him, which is why I say they need to start looking at somebody like Mafa King, not to replace him. Mafa King needs to play wide, but also needs to do a lot of work in midfield and dropping back too. Because he's going to end up being like, who's that guy from Manchester United who's very good, the midfielder, but he's just a little bit too old. You know what I'm talking about? Manchester United guy, the guy
Casemiro.
Yeah, he's like Casemiro. He's good, but if he's not able to run up and down the pitch, he can be exploited against teams that run the ball. Because we know that in South Africa they play a different style of football because you can't get away with that with the type of not having a solid defense or having a spine or being able to drop back. But against within their league, they do well. And they also do well, and they did well in the African Nations Cup. It's just that you're going to start meeting teams which run the ball a lot. Nigeria has a disconnect. But if South Africa meets a team like Senegal, especially Senegal or Cote d'Ivoire, it's going to be tough. Did they play Morocco in the last Nations Cup? They beat Morocco, though, right? Yeah.
Yeah.
They beat Morocco, didn't they?
Yes.
Brian. Yeah, they beat. So, so maybe I'm wrong. I might be exaggerating the problem. But so let's just say that Zwane has 2 more years. But right now, South Africa needs to start bringing in some youth and deciding what's going to be the transition. And I know that what's his name is going to retire soon. The coach, Bruce, is going to retire soon. But I'm sure they're going to have somebody, one of his apprentices, take and keep the system going because they're playing very well. And they have a good shot of being the best team in Africa, maybe. I'll have them as the top 4 teams in Africa in no order. What are your thoughts, Mr. Warif? Yeah.
Okay, concerning this very guy, well, to me, with his age and with his experience and everything, I think if I'm the coach, I wouldn't just drop him that way. I would gradually. Just like if you watch Inter Milan, there's this guy, Mkhitaryan. He's of age, but he's still playing. So what the coach should do, the coach should build a proper team. He can be with that as an experienced midfielder. He can be, you might not be able to have that energy to be able to run up and down, but he can do the passes and some kind of coordinating the team. Just like Ronaldo, if you watch Ronaldo is 40. So I think the coach has to apply some tactics depending on the opponents of the team they are playing against. If it's a team that is very energetic and fast, I think he has to really build the team, then give him less responsibility.
I would drop him back the way that Real Madrid did with Cruz. Drop him back a little bit.
Yes. So with his experience, I think they still, to me, I believe they still need him. Let it be a gradual process before they phase him out. If they just drop him out, I believe it will affect the team. So the coach can be building, maybe build some people around him so that he can be, what's it called, directing them or leading them. So with time, the team can now build up without him dropping him gradually.
Yeah, I agree. And I think, but they just need to monitor him now that he's been injured. Monitor him and don't overplay him, because he's doing a lot of stuff, playing the League Cup, playing different types of cups in the league, the African, the CAF, everything. So he's doing a lot. So they have to monitor his legs and make sure that he's not overworked.
Less time, give him less time.
So you're a statistician. How did he do statistically in the Club World Cup in all the games? I think he did very well against the song. He had a high percentage passes and everything, but he dropped off a little bit in performance with the last two games against Fluminense and Borussia Dortmund. But we can't blame that on his age. That's because you're playing a great team. And I don't know why the coach of Sundowns used the 4-1-4-1 with only one midfielder. That was not a good idea. Or one person committed to midfield, which was Mokoena. What are your thoughts, Afolabi, on his stats?
You're right. He was exposed in that game. He was isolated, and I think it was the formation of the coach that got him exposed. But even with that, against Ulsan HD, where they won by a lone goal, he played 75 minutes. He had 82 touches and his pass accuracy was 95%, which was reasonably good, considering the fact that the coach is still a bit weary to put him into, high intensity games. He can't do high intensity sprints just yet because the Achilles tendon injury is something he needs to manage well. But he did reasonably well. One key pass, 100% long ball completion. And I think that's basically where his skill is. He can pick out a pass from range. Very, very good at doing that. And he was able to beat the Dortmund press a number of times. But like you said, sometimes it was isolated because of the 4-1-4-1 formation that the coach employed. So I feel he did reasonably well. If he can get a 90 minutes against a very solid team under his belt, I think he still, like I said, he still has a good 2 years under his belt for both Sundowns and South Africa.
Yeah. Thank you, Mr. Alfaro. We have to call you AI football. nice technical advice. Okay, so any last thoughts, Brian, before you leave, about Zwane and what you think about moving forward? I think he's got 2 more years, but and we know that South Africa is producing fantastic midfielders. They've got the best passing game in Africa, so we'll see what happens. What do you think, Mr. Brian?
Yeah, honestly, Zwane is a crucial tactical asset, especially for coaches. He's one player whom you can put in and then put your entire trust on him to execute your game plan. He's able to slow down the tempo. He's able to unlock defenses, especially against compact teams, And he knows when to keep the ball and when to play that killer pass. Yeah. And he's not predictable in his movements and how he improvises,
Yeah, and, he's a maestro.
He's still producing numbers. Yeah, despite being over 35, he's still producing numbers, and he consistently delivers for his team.
I'm surprised
performances and.
I'm surprised. Aren't you a Chiefs fan? You're a Kaiser Chiefs, right?
Mm-hmm.
Oh, you Pirates?
Yeah, but.
Well, no, I'm joking. I'm cracking
a joke. He's a footballer, and I admire his footballing skills.
He doesn't play for your team. You're supposed to say he's rubbish. I'm just kidding you. Continue. Sorry. Yeah.
No one can replicate his style,
Yeah, he played for Bafana, so that's good enough right there. Yeah. Okay. All right, Brian. So what are your last thoughts? Sorry, I cut in front of you. Sorry about that. Yes. I think he's breaking. Okay. So Brian, so
he able to link the attack and defense as well.
Yeah, him and Mokoena, that's a very good combination, to be honest with you. So that team is blood. In fact, that Sundowns team is really, really good, to be honest with you. All right, Brian, so we'll